Okay, so remember we need to have 6 through 9 finished, the second page of the study guide. Let's look at what it is we're supposed to be tested on. So you want to compare the size of a product. So we're comparing, the size of a product to one factor based on the size of the other. So that day that we did fig newtons and we looked at when you multiply these two, do I get smaller? Do I get kind of medium size in the middle, or do I get larger? Okay, so explain why multiplying a fraction greater than 1 results in a product greater. So without actually multiplying, explain what happens. What do we know about fractions? When you multiply them, do they get smaller or do they get larger? So how does the product of 2/3 times 1/5 compare to the products of 2/3 times 4/5? So let's talk about this. 2/3 times 1/5, 2/3 times 4/5. What do I know? These are equal, okay? So check, those are the same. What do I know about these? I know this one is bigger than this one. So this answer is going to be smaller. This answer is going to be larger. I could compare that to what happens when I multiply 2 times 1 versus when I multiply 2 times 4. Which one's bigger? Which one's bigger? This one. Okay, so I'm going to say because 2/3 is equal and 4/5 is larger, the second product will be more. All right, so let me draw a box. So I'm going to draw 2/3, right? And now I have to do 1/5. 1, 2, 1/5. I only have 2 parts. Oh my goodness. I tried to close her up in a different room this morning so she wouldn't bark so loud, and now she's just barking from the other room. I assume you can hear my dog in the video today too. Okay, so here's my box. I'm going to start with 2/3. Same thing I did before, so I started with equal parts, but this time I'm going to split them into 5 parts. So I can already tell that I'm shading in more. I shaded in 8. So I'm going to say this is larger. Okay? So I didn't even really need to multiply, I just needed to compare my parts, and I knew that one is larger than the other. All right, so why is 6/7 less than 7? So I know that this means part. So I'm taking part. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking part of 7. I'm taking part of 7. Okay, so let's talk about this. So I'm going to write is less because if I cut 7 into 7ths, or 7 parts, and only take 6 of them, cutting some away. In other words, getting smaller. So, and it told me to use a drawing. So, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gotta move over a little bit. 7. Okay, so I'm going to take 7 parts of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only want to take 6 of them. I got smaller. So I did not take that last one, I got smaller. So I'm doing the same thing here. I'm still trying to figure out without actually multiplying which of my answers is getting smaller. So Mrs. Jackson wrote 4 statements on the board and asked the class which one was true. So 5, 6 times 5, 6 equals 5, 6. Well, I could figure that out. 5, 6 times 5, 6 equals 25, 36. That is not the same. When I multiply 2 fractions together, I'm not going to end up with the same. No. 5, 6 times 1 is 5, 6, but this is not what the problem said. So A cannot be true. Okay. 2/3 times 1/3 is less than 2/3. Okay. I know that when I take part of a part, I get smaller. Smaller is the same as less. So this is looking good to me. 7/8 times 8 is less than 7/8. Well, 7/8 times 8 would be 7/8 plus 7/8 plus 7/8. That's what I'm doing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't make sense. No, this would be larger. That would be much bigger than 7/8. 3/5 times 5 would be greater than 5. So 5 and 5, those are equal. This is taking part. And this is no. I would be cutting away. Okay, that's not right. So B is the correct answer. Okay, I kind of already said this. I kind of already answered this up here. Is less than 2/3. I know that because 2/3 and 1/3 are parts. A part of a part means I cut some away and get smaller. Okay? Okay, so let's look at what this one's testing me, something different. Compare the size of a product of one factor based on the size of the other. So, I'm sorry, I'm doing the same exact thing again here. So Sue, Max, and Joe were raising money for a school trip. Sue collected 2.5 times as much as Max. Joe collected 2/3 as Max. So, collected 2.5 times as much, 2/3 as much. So this is Sue collected more than Max. More than Max. 2/3, Joe collected part of Max. They got smaller. Okay, so I'm going to pick a number and I'm just going to put it in here. What if Max picked 1 whole? Max picked 1. So who collected the most? 2.5 times. So that would be Sue. Who collected the least? Well, Joe collected part of Max's. Sue collected more than Max, so Joe would be the smallest. So let's say I know that Sue collected the most and Joe collected the least. I know that the least because I know that 2.5 times Max means Sue has more. So a mixed number times anything gets larger. So in that one, I know that 2/3, which is a proper fraction, means it gets smaller. All right, so tomorrow's video, you are going to work on these last problems on this page, these last 4 problems. So you're going to practice things that we've already talked about. You're going to practice more multiplying of fractions. So I hope we are getting ready for the test and we know how to study these.